Hello everybody, welcome to LEGO Rewind, where we take another look at older tired LEGO themes. Today's episode features one of LEGO's edgiest, most violent themes ever, working our way up from Duplo naturally. This kid's gonna bite me, I swear. Duplo animals have been a thing since the 70s, first as bricks clumped together in the vague shape of an animal, sometimes with eyes so they'd at least sort of look alive. I just can't get over those. Some of them are obvious enough, those are clearly ducks, but how many of you would see this and think, oh, that's a puppy, of course? No, son, you're doing it wrong. In 1979, they made some more organic, lifelike looking ones for a bit, then they went back to brick-built animals for about a decade, creating such iconic characters as Tuttle the Turtle, going back to cartoony ones in 1990, and it's sea light again. Oh, it just got cuter. While we got a couple of purely brick-built dinosaurs in 1994, it'd be a while before something rounder and more recognizable as a dinosaur was unearthed. A lot of LEGO fans, especially ones who grew up when I did, with lines like 2000's Adventures Dino Island, think those were the first true LEGO dinosaurs. Not so. It was these. A few years earlier, Duplo paved the way for those dinos to come along, and weirdly, they're kind of the same. A pretty basic body structure with maybe one or two moving parts, and a couple of studs on the back to remind you that, yes, they are indeed part of a LEGO world. So while these may look a little more mature compared to these, the dinos of Dino Island are just glorified Duplo toys, and my generation ate them up. I'm not going to talk much about Dino Island since I already covered it in episode 5, but while I might make fun of it a little bit, this is one of my favorite lines from that time. Dinosaurs can inflate the price of a set bigly, but those early ones weren't very big, more of an accessory and a primarily vehicle-focused theme. Even the mighty T-Rex that became one of LEGO's mascots for a few years was only twice as tall as a human minifig. You never really got a dinosaur by itself. That all changed in 2001 with the release of Dinosaurs, with 4 larger dinos you could get by themselves without a vehicle or minifigs for a paltry $10 each, and 4 baby dinos that were each $3, Dinosaurs was essentially a construction figure theme. They were surprisingly cool and more involved than you might expect. While the builds were simple, they were still builds, including a little over 20 pieces on average, although some were leftovers for alternate builds. Indeed, each of the larger ones includes some interchangeable heads, legs, flippers, horns, spines, and tails, so it was more like having 16 dinos than 4. So if you wanted a Triceratops instead of a Styracosaur, just move the horns around. They were like creator sets that way. Now, none of these are very accurate representations of the animals they were named after. The Metrodon is not a dinosaur, but it was an interesting system you could do a lot with given the limited range of pieces. That T-Rex is a big step up from the classic green one in some ways, with a similarly shaped head, a bigger body, and plenty more articulation. The torsos were all essentially the same. The sides had grooves for teeth on the inside of the legs to bite into, and the inside of the body had something similar for the neck and tail to soft ratchet up and down. These things had a ton of charm, with beautiful patterns, a nice mix of sand and brighter colors, and the box art was striking too, with nicely rendered landscapes for the time, surrounded by a rocky texture, like these were recently uncovered fossils suddenly springing back to life through the power of your imagination. 8 sets, well, 4 main ones I guess for one theme doesn't sound like much, but these crossed over into other lines that year, chiefly studios, mostly smaller brick-built ones in the more classic colors. There's that Raptor Rumble again. If you want to reenact the T-Rex vs Spinosaurus fight from Jurassic Park 3, you could just pit these two together. Granted, they're the exact same build, just one is an extra piece that wasn't remotely convincing the first time. It's too bad they didn't at least make a new head mold, that would have been cool. But it's nice to get one of these in such a different color scheme. That sail is beautiful. Having all 5 of these together looked pretty cool, but I don't have them anymore, or any pictures to share. If someone in the audience still has all 5 of these, feel free to share a group shot, and I'll feature an upcoming episode. We would see this general body type used a few other times for elephants and some Star Wars creatures. Over the next several years, dinosaurs were mostly represented in the creator line, which seemed like a logical next step. Then came 2005's Dino Attack. If you ever wanted to see how 1998's Godzilla would have continued if all the babies weren't destroyed at the end, basically this. This theme was crazy. A post-apocalyptic war between man and giant evil mutant robot alien demon cyborg lizard dino things bent on destroying the earth and trampling humanity underfoot. I am not even kidding. The information I've been able to find on the true nature of these things isn't consistent enough to say for certain what they are. They have laser vision, force fields, fire breath, lightning powers, acid spit, basically whatever powers LEGO wanted them to have. The Viscerac released that same year were kinda like that too. Huh. These looked pretty freaky, parts of their body appearing artificial or even like they're rotting away. They were big and they were mean. That's a raptor? It's bigger than the original T-Rex. It's bigger than the other one. And don't even get me started on the new T-Rex, a glowing-eyed behemoth that's completely unrecognizable as a LEGO product save the now comical tiny patch of studs on the back LEGO dinosaurs always have. It's like a stubble. And the vehicles, oh, dang, these were impressive. Just look at that chopper. It keeps going and going like Spaceball 1. These have a great look, big and bulky, yet somehow pretty sleek, with a good mix of tan, black, and dark red with lime accentuating the weapons, much like how orange was used in Power Miners. And yes, I said weapons. Make no mistake, these guys are not here to pacify or capture these dinosaurs. They are here to slaughter them, blast them full of bullet holes and into meaty chunks, slay them back into extinction before they devour everybody. Gosh dang LEGO. And I thought Robo-Riders was a theme for edgelords. This is probably their darkest original IP ever made, outside of Bionicle's later years. Just get a load of these names. Iron Predator, Urban Avenger, Fire Hammer, Viper Shadow. It was so edgy they actually got in trouble for it. While Dino Attack flew without a hitch in America because we're already crazy that way, they had to tone the sets down for a European release, and so Dino Attack became Dino 2010. The apocalyptic city on fire was replaced with a jungle setting, and the guns meant to brutally murder the dinosaurs were removed, replaced with ropes and cages to transport them to safety. If these new elements look like they were tacked on out of desperation at the last minute, it's because they were. I like this well enough. The vehicles fit color-wise, and the new background does look cool. But those dinosaurs are still so evil-looking. It really sticks out. Dino Attack was a cool theme, but also a cautionary glimpse of LEGO getting just a little too indulgent during their edgy teenager phase. The price-to-piece ratio is okay in the smaller sets. It's only the ones with the T-Rexes where it gets blown up by the giant pieces. We wouldn't see them try something like this again until 2012 simply named Dino. This was more reminiscent of Dino Island, right down to the protagonist Josh Thunder, Johnny Thunder's nephew of all things. The dinos were less threatening, more like just animals again, and the vehicle builds were a nice update, colorful and muddy like they were taken right out of the first Jurassic Park movie, and they made sure to include nets and nice big easy to see tranquilizer darts with nubs that don't even look sharp, just to make it super clear to moral guardians that no actual dinosaurs were harmed in the making of these sets. The dinos themselves were smaller and more natural looking than the mutants from Dino Attack, and would become the template for the slightly more expensive Jurassic World sets to come a few years later, and the new Fallen Kingdom sets. Wait, there's a Jurassic Park set? Oh my gosh, it's got the kitchen and the jello and the lab and Grant and Sadler and the kids and Dennis's face on the screen. You can use a T-Rex from the other sets to reenact the escape since it's the same character. I like these sets a good deal, and I even like the dinosaurs, but there's something about them that still feels missing to me. Maybe it's because the LEGO dinos I grew up with were so primitive, but as unconvincing as they looked, I like them being a little more bricky, more like they're made of standard LEGO pieces. Yeah, like that. These more lifelike, Duplo-ish ones stray just a tad further from that, I think. That aside, I'd like to see a little more diversity in the dinos they are making. Example, that Carnotaurus is bigger than it has any right to be. I hate to shine a light on any knockoff brands, but I noticed some of them have made smaller to medium range dinos of their own. Something like these would be a good compromise for LEGO to make. I mean, they technically just did with the Indoraptor, but I don't see them reusing these molds much in the future. I mean, Dino at least had two types of raptors, a big one and a little one. We don't need every theropod to be as huge as a T-Rex or as small as a raptor. You can see this problem in the game especially. Part of me would love to see the majority of these in set form. I mean, geez, just counting those studs and imagining how much plastic this thing would eat up, oh man. But then you have the Baryonyx and Spinosaurus being the same thing, just with or without a sail, when Barry should be only half that size, much like Carnotaurus. And I'd like to see more herbivores. These are the best LEGO dinos we've ever had, but I wouldn't mind them taking another swing at the ideas of the old dinosaurs, something you build up with a little more customization, a wider range of species and pieces, where you don't need an entire building or vehicle chained to it because the dinosaur itself could be a satisfying build in its own right. But I guess that's what Creator is for. As long as there are dinosaurs like these, ones that don't try to look super abstract or super realistic but just fall somewhere in between, I'm good. Lastly, it should be no surprise that the Jurassic franchise has inspired some beautiful mocks ranging from pretty impressive to downright stunning, recreating locations from the movies like the aviary or the visitor center. It's amazing how much detail builders put into these. It really makes one wonder what else we might see LEGO do if they're able to continue retroactively making sets based on the old movies like this one. I mean, they do it with Star Wars all the time, and it'll be a few years before Jurassic World 3 is out, so Look, they could give it a shot is all I'm saying. We haven't seen the last of LEGO's Dinosaurs by a long shot, but I hope they continue to evolve as they always have, not just stay the way they are now forever. Maybe we'll see a line of feathered ones someday. Somebody has to make toys of them if they're ever going to become mainstream. Thanks for joining me, and please consider supporting my books. The next episode will feature LEGO Racers. Toodles!
Dinosaurs are attacking the city. With new LEGO vehicles, you have the power to take on this dino threat. Start the adventure. Track the dinos. Set up the ambush and take control. Only you can stop the Dino Attack.